Podcasting live at the time we recorded it. From the studios in downtown Gulfport, Florida, it's WGAB, the Gabcast.
Welcome back to WGAB, the Gabcast, a Gabber newspaper production. I am Cameron Healy, the assistant editor, with...
I'm Patrick Heinzen, I'm the news and politics reporter, and we are here in the always awesome Wine House in downtown Gulfport,
Yes.
the official sponsor of the Gabcast.
They're keeping us nice and cool in this hot weather.
Yes, they are.
You know what other hot things are going on? These hot topics that we are going to talk about. Lavender graduation at Eckerd College. We're going to have everybody's favorite segment, Kathy with a cop.
She said it, not me.
Anyways, and then we will end off with our Pride event with the Foundation for a Healthy St. Petersburg and 9 Colors Initiative. So first, let's talk about Eckerd's Lavender graduation.
Yeah, definitely. This is something that is close to home for both of us because we both graduated from Eckerd. Cam graduated 2 years ago?
2022.
And I graduated on Sunday.
May 19th?
May 19th. So not this Sunday. May 19th.
Yes.
So
We are Eckerd
we
grads.
are both Eckerd grads now. And there's a lot of Eckerd grads, and a lot of Eckerd students in general, who are part of the LGBTQ community.
I think that's one of the big things people recognize about Eckerd is their supportive community with LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
Just anybody in that community as well. Eckerd is definitely a safe space. So it's really cool to see that they had such an impact that they had a Lavender graduation.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what a Lavender graduation is, it started, I believe, in 1995, and it was a way for students to celebrate their, not just sexuality, but differences, and walk across a stage called by their preferred name, and celebrate being a part of a different community or what people perceive as a different community. And I think it started with, it's 3 graduates in the very first Lavender graduation at University of Michigan.
Yeah.
And since then, we have 300 colleges and universities around the country that do Lavender graduation. There was, I don't know the exact number, but there was a lot more than 3 people graduated from Eckerd as part of this.
Which also, if you don't know, lavender is a symbol of pride and resilience within the LGBTQ community. So that's why the color is so prominent in the commencement and ceremony. So there was even people with caps with the color purple and
The cap, they're really cool. And said, this Barbie is a marine biologist
no. So it's
really cool.
it's really nice to see that kids were students. They're not kids. They're like 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Were able to incorporate this symbolism in their graduation.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, especially because a lot of it comes from students fearing repercussions. So a big part of it, at least up until this year, was a way for students to be called up by their preferred name.
Yes.
And when they were at the main commencement ceremony, they wouldn't be able to do that.
It's not even like about like being called by your chosen name too. That is just one specific part.
That's just one.
It's honestly just a safe ceremony for any students who felt like their lives outside of college do not reflect who they are here, and they were able to be themselves 100%. There was a lot of people that do Lavender graduation because their families don't even know that they're gay or trans or just even friendly or an ally to that community.
That's one of the things, is it's not limited to people who are part of the LGBTQ community. Anybody can go and sign up as long as you're there for yourself and for the people around you. It's about celebrating individuality, difference, and being just yourself.
Yes.
And something that's different about the main commencement at Eckerd this year, though, is students were this year allowed to change the name that's on their official diploma.
Yes.
For the main commencement, which was interesting because they talked about it, and it's talked about in the article, but kind of they can't change it on the transcript because it's a legal document.
Yeah, it has to match your license
Yeah.
and certificates of whatever that prove your identity.
But
So,
a diploma
yeah.
is a ceremonial piece of paper.
Yes, it just proves that
Yeah.
you were there and that you graduated from this college.
Nobody's ever going to ask
university.
to see your diploma.
Yeah, they're only looking at your transcripts. But it's also just super important because there were some students that Nicole, our editor, video editor,
Hi, Nicole.
she wrote
She's editing this right now.
Exactly. She said that some students told her that they would not feel comfortable graduating with their dead name
Mm-hmm.
on their diploma, and that this gave them that security blanket, that ability to know that they can sleep at night knowing they are being themselves
Mm-hmm.
as much as they possibly can from graduating.
Yeah. At Eckerd, it started. The idea came to Eckerd in 2018. I'm sure it was talked about before that, but
Right?
at that time, Dean of Students, now President of Eckerd, James Anarelli,
Yes.
he went up to New York and he met with an alumnus of Eckerd, and the alumnus talked about how these initiatives are really important for students, and he brought that back and talked about it
Yeah.
with other faculty, and they talked with the Eckerd's Queer Straight Alliance, and they decided that this was something they wanted to do. COVID hit, kind of
Yeah.
slowed everything down, but the
We
first
all know
Lavender
that
graduation,
feeling, yeah.
first Lavender graduation at Eckerd was 2021.
Yes.
So
see, that's so exciting to have
Yeah.
be so significant and continue on at the school because they very much want to make this a tradition
Yeah,
and to
definitely.
allow that space to continue being on Eckerd's campus. And I'm surprised I didn't even know that this was a thing. I just knew that when you do Lavender graduation, or if I think it's when you also at the traditional ceremony, you can have a LGBTQ, what is it, sash? Yeah,
Yeah.
a stash. A sash. And I've seen those. I remember seeing
Yeah, you can have
a lot of
stuff.
my friends and colleagues were wearing them, and I knew that was there, but I didn't realize that there was also the entire other ceremony for Lavender graduation.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I like I said, I graduated 9 days ago now.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw a lot of people wearing those sashes. People wearing sashes, international sashes,
Yes.
of where they came of their home. I saw people wearing rainbow cords
Yes.
for graduation. But this ceremony isn't just to be it isn't just to be prideful of sexuality or gender or anything. It's just to celebrate individuality.
Yeah.
And celebrate differences and be happy with being able to be different and accepting in a community. Because Eckerd, students always talk about it, faculty always talks about it, and there's been the issues, but Eckerd is they embrace differences.
Yes.
We both went there, and we know they're
Yeah.
very inclusive. They embrace differences, and it's a great place for ceremonies like this.
Yeah.
Where you think about they always talk about the Eckerd bubble, and if you compare Eckerd to kind of outside Pinellas County or even outside St. Pete, there can be very different philosophies
Yeah.
of lifestyle, but when you're at Eckerd, it's a very connected community, and the community is always kind of looking out for each other.
Yeah. Everybody who goes there understands that anybody can be who they are. So there's really no need to be pushing your own agenda onto somebody else.
Yeah.
People are honestly just being themselves, and if you have a problem with that, you obviously don't belong at Eckerd. So that's whatever. But honestly, Lavender graduation is an amazing concept, and the fact that we were able to incorporate that throughout the time we were there, and then that they have them now.
It's just going to get bigger after this point.
Yeah,
And I think that allowing students to change their preferred name on their diplomas isn't going to get rid of this celebration, because it is, like you said, it's beyond that. It's not just walking across the stage as your preferred name. It's embracing yourself and celebrating yourself in a safe space.
Well, that's even the thing, is that Lavender graduation is not only just recognizing who you are, but it's also recognizing the achievements and accomplishments that students have throughout their time at school. That's why it's some people were dedicating their caps their grad caps to their memories at Eckerd.
Yeah, definitely.
And coordinating that with the color lavender and having that be a part of the graduation ceremony.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful way
yeah.
to kind of celebrate that. But
Yeah.
as much as I want to keep talking about this, Kathy keeps giving me a look through the window, and I think she is as antsy as all of you are, and we
Kathy
are,
can't wait.
for the return
Of Kathy with a cop.
coming up next on WGAB, the Gabcast.
The Gabber newspaper? Yeah, we go there.
All right, well, welcome back. I'm Kathy Celestri. We're going to talk today not with the chief, but we're going to talk with Officer Stone, Joshua Stone, who is a longtime Gulfport resident. How long have you been an officer?
It just turned 23 years, May 21st.
You are a whole person who can drink into your career here. Like if your career was a person, it would almost be old enough to rent a car without permission.
Yes, insurance would almost be lower, almost.
Well, I'm sorry that you're here at this wine house with their beautiful wines and you have an iced coffee.
That's okay.
It's all right. So I wanted to talk a little bit today, and I don't want to identify the news source because I don't want to send them any traffic, but there was a headline today about police officers in another area of the country shooting and killing a mentally ill man. And the reason I don't want to give the news source is because I don't like that they made the headline very clickbaity, like police kill mentally ill man. But I did want to talk about how the force handles people who have mental illness. Like, again, knock on wood, we've not had any of these issues here. But I mean, what do you do when you get a call? I mean, how can you as an officer know somebody's mentally ill?
It's a good question. A lot of times it's just by talking and through interviewing somebody and asking those questions. I know the Florida law allows us to put somebody into protective custody for an involuntary examination if they meet certain criteria.
What are those criteria?
So if somebody is suffering from a mental illness, and because of that illness, the person is going to, one, they don't understand that they need that examination, or they refuse to go get a voluntary examination, and they run a risk of maybe neglecting themselves, and that neglect could really hurt them. Or if that person is a threat to themselves or others, then we can initiate that involuntary examination under the Baker Act and transport them to the nearest receiving facility. Sometimes that's St. Anthony's, other times it's PEMS, the Pinellas Enrichment for Mental Health. But by asking those questions like, hey, have you ever been diagnosed with mental illness? Do you take medication for a mental illness? And then ask more follow-up questions to see if that person is a threat to themselves or others, or may suffer from neglecting themselves in the future if we don't do something.
So are people forthright about that? I mean, or is it more you're looking at their answer and trying to assess them as they answer?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because, it's scary for even a regular person to have contact with law enforcement, let alone somebody who's dealing with a mental health crisis.
Unless you're a badge bunny, then it's exciting.
I guess. But they see the authority, the uniform, the gun, and all the accoutrements here, and obviously you're going to be nervous and scared. But if we can try to bring them down, like, hey, I'm just here to try to assess, are you okay? Talking to them, hey, have you eaten? Do you have food in the house? When was the last time you saw your doctor? Do you have access to your doctor right now? I mean, a lot of times we could speak to that person and say, hey, get in touch with your therapist, get in touch with your doctor. Maybe you can go see them right now to maybe stabilize the situation that you're in. Other times, people are in such a state where they don't give us that honest, forthright answer, and it's hard for us to sometimes make that decision. We've actually, back 2 years ago, we partnered with Directions for Living. It's an organization here in Pinellas, and they gave us tablets, these little, we call them TRACE tablets. TRACE stands for Telehealth Remote Access to Emergency Mental Health Counseling. And through that tablet, we can have a therapist on the tablet through a Zoom and hand the person the tablet and say, here, talk to this counselor or this therapist, and they can have a dialogue about what's going on. And then when we get the tablet back, the counselor can say, you know what, this person may or may not meet the criteria for a Baker Act. Now whether or not they agree with us or not on that determination, we make the final say. But it's another tool in the toolbox to help us determine what to do and what other steps to take to make sure we make the right decision.
So, thank you. Without identifying the police force or the news source, I'm going to ask you to do something cops hate to do, and I'm going to ask you to speculate. How does it happen? How do you end up shooting and killing a mentally ill person? And I know that's not a fair question. How does that happen?
It's not a fair question. I'm not saying that you're saying a wrong
Oh, I know
question.
it's not a
or anything
fair
like
question.
that.
I was just hoping you'd indulge me.
It is the horrible culmination of circumstances to where we go to a call and we're trying to do this one particular task, but then other things pop up to where now a law enforcement officer may have to defend themselves or others with deadly force. And I'm not sure what incident you're talking about that happened wherever it happened. But these things have happened. I mean, we had an incident a couple years back where we made contact with an individual who drove their vehicle off the seawall just south of the rec center. And we were able to get this person off the seawall. Rescue was there to try to help them. And then the person produced a box cutter and held it to their neck. So an officer who had a less lethal means...
Taser?
Not taser. It was a less lethal rubber bullet.
Okay.
The officer was able to engage this person with a less lethal weapon and deployed it, and we were able to safely disarm that person and get that person in custody to provide a service to get them to mental health treatment. But there are some circumstances where things just go so awry, you just don't have that opportunity.
All right.
And again, I'm not familiar with this particular incident you're talking about.
That's fair. I like I said, I know it's hard for police officers just to speculate an armchair quarterback
hindsight
something.
is always 20/20. There's always things, even in other situations maybe I've gotten into in my career where I wish I would have done this A, B, and C, but those circumstances didn't present themselves.
I can think of one.
Me too.
It was one of the best things I ever got to report.
Oh, the car? Yeah.
The car. So just so everybody listening knows, this is poor Josh. I'm sorry.
Poor Josh.
There was was it like a hijacked bus or something? There was like a car chase, and you took you changed the pursuit policy. Basically, you helped Gulfport get a safer pursuit policy. So we should thank you for that.
Where we chased the car and the car hit the bus?
Yeah, I think that was it. Weren't you like in like the EV, not an EV or something?
No,
you
it was
like
an unmarked Ford Fusion. Yeah.
So, but they said, you weren't supposed to be doing that.
No, I wasn't.
But
at the time, I thought, it was another officer in a marked vehicle behind the car, and then me behind him. So I'm like the close support car.
Super fun for you to come on the podcast and relive this. I apologize.
Well, I thought you were going to actually talk about when my patrol car was stolen. You remember that in 2003?
No, I wasn't going to mention that, but
it happens,
Well, you're human, as far as I can tell. We haven't replaced cops with AI yet, so you're good. No. But no,
just full disclosure, I was not found at fault for that.
Okay.
No, I personally thought I could have done things differently, but I wasn't found at fault for it.
Didn't we have a former chief get his gun stolen out of the car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, grand scheme of things happen.
Things happen. It's a weird job.
But overall, I think everybody has the knowledge that it's really easy to look back on things and go, I can armchair quarterback this. How many years has it been since a Gulfport police officer has discharged their weapon and killed somebody?
I don't know. It's been forever.
I mean, I think it's been better than 20 years. It's knocking on wood all over the fucking place. But no, I mean, I came on the scene in 2003, and the police force was proud of their record then, and it hasn't happened since. So it makes it a nice place to live, and it makes it probably a little bit better place to police. I mean, I would take Gulfport over St. Pete any day if I were a police officer.
We have such little violent. I'm always knocking on wood. Such little violent crime. We do have property crime like anywhere else for stolen vehicles and vehicle burglaries and things like that. But we've been very fortunate in terms of our rate of violent crime over the last 20 years.
More than 20.
More than 20.
More than 20.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Josh, Lieutenant, Commander,
but you can call me whatever
you keep
you want.
getting promoted.
No,
I'm just going to call you Chief. Get it over with. We'll just say.
Don't do that just yet.
Commander Stone, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for being forthright with us, helping people get a little insight into how the police mind works and what it's like.
You got it.
And we'll be back here in just a moment with more talk about pride. Thanks for listening, and thanks to the Wine House for supporting us.
Find all your Gulfport and Tampa Bay Beaches news and things to do at thegabber.com.
Welcome back to WGIB, the Gabcast. Wasn't that such a good Kathy with the Cops section?
It was.
Segment? Sorry. I'm
I
thinking
didn't
newspaper.
know his car got stolen. His
Yeah.
patrol car got stolen. That's wild.
Yeah. That is crazy. It was me at 3 years old, actually. I was there.
I've seen Cam steal cars and
I was just like pacifier in one
Remember
hand,
that car you stole,
one
like,
hand
last
on the
week?
steering wheel.
in downtown St. Pete.
Be so serious. He is trying to get me fired. Oh my god. Anyways,
Which buttons are which?
welcome back. We're going to talk about some more pride-oriented conversations.
Yeah, we will.
So, actually, coming out on Friday, May 31st, since this will be on the 30th, you guys will see it, there's going to be a event at the Center for Health Equity on 34th Street South with the Foundation for a Healthy St. Petersburg and the 9 Colors Initiative. So they're going to be presenting, they're going to have a 4-part presentation. So it's going to be a whole day thing. It's from noon to 5, and they'll be providing food and drinks. So don't worry, guys. You'll be able to have your lunch break, a potty break, whatever you need. And but the conversation, the presentation they'll be having is called Pride Amplified Navigating LGBTQIAA Spaces. For those of you who do not know, the foundation works to empower people, exchange information, and end the differences in health because of institutional racism. So they hold free lectures and group discussions at the Center for Health Equity all the time. Like, I try and incorporate their stuff into our events list because it's really interesting. They always talk about people of color and certain situations that are very, St. Pete. Like, it's very in proximity of where we are. So in Pinellas County, for sure.
Because I always, to be honest, I always drive like past there, and there's never anything in the parking lot.
Yeah.
It looks empty from like 34th Street, and I'm like, is that like a place that's happening?
Right? I didn't know what it was for a long time.
Yeah.
But it is a huge space
Yeah, it
where
looks massive.
it's a huge lecture hall, basically. And
Oh, cool.
like, they have like a mini stage, and they have a bunch of tables that they'll set things up at. And they have a bunch of events.
That's really cool.
And like, sometimes they'll have art stuff. Sometimes they'll just do panel discussions. They've shown movies in there, but that will also have a panel discussion. They do a bunch of stuff. So always check them out for all of their stuff is free, by the way. So
that's really
you
cool.
can just register online, so then at least you're on the list.
Is that for the Center of Health Equity or the 9 Colors Initiative? All of
This is for the Center for Health Equity.
Okay, so all their events are free.
Yes, that is
Oh,
with
that's
the
really cool.
Foundation for a Healthy St. Petersburg. But so the foundation is having this Pride Amplified presentation by the 9 Colors Initiative. So that was started back in 2016 by a group of college students who just honestly felt like there was, or not, oh, no, what's the word? What's the word? People just were not giving
wasn't
enough,
focus?
not enough focus on people of color that are also in the queer community. So that's why I think they go hand in hand, honestly, the foundation and the 9 Colors Initiative. So the 9 Colors Initiative is actually a nonprofit, a 501c3, and they promote equity and inclusivity within the LGBTQ and allied communities in Florida. They specifically do anything from Central Florida all the way down South Florida, and they provide like food programs and health resources. So they are definitely a group that will lend the hand when they need it.
So
when
do you
somebody
know
needs it.
what the 9 colors mean or what they are? Like, what is, if you don't.
I don't, but I was pretty sure it was the rainbow. So I think that's what like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and maybe there's like other colors involved. Like, I think there's
That's what I was going to
white,
say, is there's not 9
black,
colors
and
in the
brown in the pride flag.
Okay, true.
Yeah, there. It depends on which pride flag you have.
Sorry, gay community.
In my house, we have a pride flag that also has the intersex symbol in it. So it's like all those colors, the brown, black and white, and then a yellow triangle with a purple circle inside.
I know that one too.
Because there's some pride flags that are only just rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the one that I'm familiar with, I can't remember where I see it often. It's hung, and it's a normal rainbow, but it has like extra. It has, like you said, white, black, brown, and all that, and then there's a triangle.
The triangle, yeah.
Yeah. So I know that one.
There's those. So that's what I was thinking the 9 colors meant. But it's
I might
okay.
be stupid.
Sorry, I should have looked it
Sorry,
up.
Kathy,
There's people who are like you who might not know. So that should have been something I did. Sorry, guys, I let you down. But essentially, they also help with just people of color and queer communities. So they were able to create a 4-part presentation where they will break down how to conversate about, or conversate is not a word, converse. Conversate is conversate?
I don't think it's the right word, but it is a word.
I think I should know better. That's really what it is. So then people are able to have a more impactful time during Pride Month. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So basically, the first part that they talk about is inclusive resource showcase, which they will hold multiple organizations in the county to discuss how to help people within the LGBTQ community. And
along with the Black pop community, right? Like
yeah,
kind
so
of push it together at the same time.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of this intersectional organization showcase. Yeah. So that's just going to help connect people with the people that they want to work with.
Yeah.
So it's a good networking part
of amplify
the
voices and kind of get like-minded people together. And
yeah. So they essentially said that it will bring equity and diversity in the BIPOC, trans, and non-binary community. That's what the first part will do. So then the second part is when we get to eat. It says their name is Lunch and Learn. I think that's cute. Lunch and Learn, the foundations of nonprofits. So they will talk about how you can start a nonprofit similar to the 9 Colors Initiative. Yeah. So, and how to make it sustainable and like actually continue to end up being something that's helpful and resourceful for people in
through this job. I feel like I've learned a lot about like the benefits of having a registered 501c3.
Absolutely,
and, like, it really changes everything when you can get that done, and it allows you to kind of like just go further with everything.
Yeah, you're able to do a lot more when you are actually registered as a nonprofit.
And like I was saying about like getting people together, if somebody comes in with an idea and other people have this idea, then they'll say, "Oh, we have people here who have the same idea."
Yeah.
We can group together, put our resources together.
Absolutely.
Form a 501c3, and there you got a great organization already starting to kind of move forward.
And like financially, people are able to actually use those, like use a budget in things that will help others in the long run.
Yeah.
So essentially the second part with the luncheon, they will cover how to apply for a 501c3 and learn about the basic grant applications and managing all of the things that come with having a nonprofit and how you can register with the My Florida Marketplace. So very helpful information. A lot of numbers will be coming out of that. But if you do go, that is something that will be super beneficial in the long run.
And you get lunch.
And you can get lunch. It's provided. Like it's not like they're going to have some like poopy doo-doo like food. They're going to have good food. Literally stop. Okay, so for the third part, they're going to do some media training with GLAAD. What's wrong with you and GLAAD? Do you not like the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation?
I love the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation.
Okay, good. That's what I like to hear. So this part will have guests focus on
You're really trying to catch me slipping. You're really trying to get me on camera in trouble.
No, we are educating the ignorant. So this part will be focusing on LGBTQ advocacy and how you can actually make a change. So I found this part to be interesting, that they will help guide people with how they can have conversations that speak fairly and accurately to the LGBTQ community. So it's like,
I think we need
there's no fake
news.
You definitely need one. So I'm just kidding, guys. He's an ally. Put your fits up.
Stop.
So, anyways,
Oh.
this will be a good part to be able to talk about the do's and don'ts of a conversation that require poopy doo doo. So this will be a part that you discuss the do's and don'ts of a conversation that involves the LGBTQ community.
Just pretty much how to like accurately represent and kind of, if you're going to have a conversation about the LGBTQ community, what words to use, how to like, definitely.
How to actually advocate for people in that community. So lastly, the fourth part is a panel discussion called Let's Be Real Part 2. And this is a conversational opportunity for guests to ask any questions and to kind of understand and learn topics within the BIPOC and LGBTQ community. Things that they were talking about, the topics that they were talking about were like mental health, because that is a huge part of honestly being a human being. But in general, it is a lot higher
in both the BIPOC and LGBTQ
that's like
communities.
that's a very common discussion is mental health. And along with that is having any questions with topics regarding relationships and how people really don't understand how people have relationships in same sex. It's really crazy how people don't understand how it's like the same thing as a heterosexual relationship. So
I think it's just very important for people to have like an open question and answer thing about anything, because I remember we talked about it earlier, but we both went to Eckerd and they have the Sex in the Dark event where everybody's in the auditorium and they turn off all the lights so you can't see. And then you can ask whatever questions you want about sex and relationships and all of that. Sexuality is often talked
it's like
about.
Overall,
it's like one of those things where when you set up a space where you can really just talk about something in whatever way you want to talk about, you're able to learn in your own way and get your questions answered how you want them to be answered. And that's really interesting. I think
that's
really
a very similar situation with this. So if you want to sign up and register for this event, which is on May 31st at noon, the registration will be online at meetatthecenter.org. And they'll have like a list of events and you can register which one you want. But
I have a question.
Yes.
When was Let's Be Real Part 1?
Honestly, I wasn't there, but that's just what they called it.
And you're trying to make me seem like, no, you weren't even there.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys, that I've let you down with not answering all of your questions. If you have any questions, please let me know at Kathy@thegabber.com. And I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for
watching
and listening to
I was doing
WGAB, the Gabcast. I'm Cameron Healy, the assistant editor.
I'm Patrick. Thank you so much to the Wine House, the official sponsor of the Gabcast. I have my tacos sitting over there, so we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.